And Barry thought, well, Bill really likes coffee, so maybe we'll try a coffee shop. And that was the beginning of Wild Bill's Coffee Shop in North Hall. It's still there. Bill life changed then. It became sort of a local icon. And Barry wrote a long story which appeared in the Des Moines Register about Bill. The story evolved into a screenplay for a movie. Mickey Rooney, in the middle of the picture, played Bill, and a young Dennis Quaid up there with all that hair, that's Dennis, played Barry. That made Bill famous, of course, and people came to see him in Iowa City. The real Bill was followed by a second film, a sequel called Bill on His Own, that focused more on the coffee shop, featured the same lead actors plus Helen Hunt playing a University of Iowa student, and a young musician before he had his really large band, Lyle Lovett, makes a cameo appearance in the film. So Bill died right after the second film was finished, but the coffee shop stayed. It's still there, and we're the community cousin, the crosstown cousin. We opened 17 years ago, and we're like a bigger version of the original coffee shop. So we're glad you're here. Let's see if we can get to some performances. We've got Joey here tonight, and I think he may have some poetry for us or some musings, something in writing anyway. Come on up. Musings, you like that?
All right. Musings. Yeah.
Better than, say, doggerel. I don't think there is any equivalent like catterall. It's just doggerel. You gonna sit?
Yeah. Yeah, let's have the stool with me. Of course.
Okay.
All right.
Steps down a little bit.
Okay. All right, 10 minutes. All right.
We've got the pit bulls waiting, just in case.
Hey, I have a pit bull, so you might be in trouble. My name's Joe Westlink, or Joey Westlink. I am a local writer here in Iowa City. Starving writer, I guess you could call me. Not very good with introductions. Not good. I let my writing speak for me. I don't speak for myself, I guess. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to get going before I make this more awkward. This is a musing, according to Tom, I wrote quite a while back. I have never read this thing before. If I have, then, well, I got bad memory, I guess. Okay, so this is about somebody that has social anxiety issues, and basically try to go to a place he's never gone before, the Java House down by England Theater. Okay, so there we go. I have entered into a hellish new place today. I have just gone through the red door that leads to the Java House, and I have already have the desire to turn tail and return to my cave. My senses are on overload, as I hear so many sounds and conversations around me that I might fall to my knees and cover my ears just so the sounds will stop. My heart is literally using my ribs like a xylophone as each beat gets faster, along with my palms becoming moist with perspiration. I need to catch my breath. I need to go outside and get away from the suffocation that is trying to close in on me. As I take a few deep breaths to reclaim my composure, I turn around and re-enter the red doors. Red door. My heart is still moving rapidly in my throat, but I must overcome my social anxieties if I want to form deeper, more meaningful relationships with people. I take one step and then another. My legs feel like jello due to the overwhelming anxiety coursing through my body, but I keep moving forward. I barely notice my surroundings, with the exception of the conversations occurring around me. I think for a moment about coming back when it's much quieter, like next week, or maybe in June. No, I can't listen to this stupid idea. I need to move forward. I pass the counter where the cash register was located. I think I hear someone say hello to my right. I don't look to respond to her, as I am too nervous and uncomfortable in my current environment. I just want to sit down. However, there's a large line in front of me that is right now preventing me from achieving that goal. The line almost looks like an invading army. I take a deep breath and cautiously squeeze through the line to get a seat. After passing the chaotic mess, I glance over to my right, and next to a magazine rack, I see a table with high chairs. And the best part, nobody is sitting there. Yes, it is hard enough for me to maintain social connections due to my anxieties and general social awkwardness, but it is much more difficult for me to even make a connection. I just don't know what to do when it comes to meeting a person for the first time. I would like to meet people and make friends, but I get stressed out and mentally worn out in a short time span. Basically, I wouldn't be able to sit down with a complete stranger, but personally, who could? So I sit down in the high chair and I quickly whip my hair to my right, my head to my right, and then to my left. I am still anxious with so much noise happening all around me. I shouldn't have come down here in the middle of the day. I try to ignore this negative thought, but it is very difficult to achieve with being in the middle of a storm of conversations occurring. I am trying to stay calm, but it is a losing battle. No, I must remain calm. I'll just close my eyes and take slow, deep breaths. Okay, there we go. Mouse didn't want to cooperate. I keep my eyes closed, and my mindfulness training kicks in. Each breath I take becomes slower. I feel my body shaking less each time I exhale. I feel the calm crash onto me like a fresh, therapeutic shower. My hands are no longer shaking like I am experiencing my own personal earthquake. Can you imagine what it would be like to be at the mercy of an earthquake that only you can feel? I am going deeper into my meditation. I hear a small sound that is rising over the sea of confusion, loud noise. The confusion, loud noise. At first, the sound is only softer than a whisper, but the sound becomes louder with each passing second. While this second is still soft, it is somehow climbing over the wall of conversations. This sound is a song I have heard before. This song is a country western song, and the name of the song is All American Girl by Carrie Underwood. I have heard this country song many times before back home. I have never really paid attention to it. This is the first time I've actually listened to this song, and it's actually a lovely song about how life is uncertain because the father was expecting a son, but he gets a daughter that at first crushes his dreams. However, he still finds great joy in being a father to this girl. Hopefully, I am interpreting the song correctly. My God, I hope I am. I open my eyes after 8 minutes, and I feel calmer, but I'm still somewhat overwhelmed by my new environment. Also, I should have brought something to do, like a book to read, or I should have at least ordered something. I suddenly hear a loud, sharp noise in front of me. It was a high, piercing shriek that for a moment, I think a banshee was on the loose. You would think a coffee maker wouldn't be so loud, but, well, yeah, they are. The coffee maker is loud. I need to get up and leave because I think my heart is currently in my throat. Or at least I think that's my heart. And I think my ears are ringing from that sudden annoying noise that would rival the old nails on the chalkboard sound. I mean, how many people have heard that one before? I'll come back another time when the Java house is much quieter. And perhaps warmer, too. And that is all I have for tonight. I think I'm about the 10-minute limit, so I'll just give the microphone back to Tom. So have a good week, and, well, poor luck, bench.
Okay, we're gonna do our drawing now. And the first book we're giving away is The House of Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And they say that it says it's a romance, but it kind of sounds creepy on the back, so I don't really know what to think about it. But, oh, okay, good to know. And that one goes to Doug Beck. And then the other one is A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bay, I guess. And then there's a note on it that says, author was a child soldier in Sierra Leone, rescued by UNICEF at age 16. And then also in the back, they like tore out a magazine article about him. So you can also get that as well as a book. And I wonder if that one is, I can't read this name. It looks like it says Jeremy. It's Jeremy R. Okay. It's Lenny R. I'm sorry. I can't. Okay.
All right, thank you. There was there are several African countries which have had terrible civil wars, much like our own, but these are in the last 20 years. And the one in Sierra Leone led to all kinds of bloodshed, but also to a marvelous band called the Sierra Leone All-Stars. And if you look it up on YouTube, you can see some clips of them. There was a public television video made about their life. They started together performing while they were in a refugee camp. And then they traveled around northern Africa, and they came to the US, and then they went back to Sierra Leone, and the film follows all of this. Fascinating look and wonderful music. All right, speaking of wonderful music, Jamie is coming up next. Stand or
Yeah, I always stand.
you want to plug in?
Even standing, I sing better standing than sitting down. Okay.
Strum a bit. Let's see if we can. It's got a lot of reverb. If you want that turned down.
I like the reverb. Okay. My name is Jamie Mulder. My pronouns are she and her. And I was going to play some other songs because I had some requests, but the person that requested isn't here. So I'm going to play something else. So I'm going to start out with this, it's a jazz blues called Bluebird. Bluebird, quit singing your sad songs. Bluebird, quit singing your sad songs. Now that I'm blue, why do you sing sad songs? There was a time life was so fine and happy. Just like a child, so free and wild and happy. From day to day, I would stay so happy. when you flew my way and you caught my eye. You were the breeze, you made my heart fly. Now when you sing, my heart starts to cry. Bluebird, quit singing your sad songs. Bluebird, quit singing your sad songs. Now that I'm blue, why do you sing sad songs? Bluebird. This next one's kind of a jazz ballad called St. Croix Island. Imagine being on the beach and hearing the waves hitting the shore, and they kind of sound like this. We watch the southwest breeze caress the lush green trees. We share the sheltered beach. The world is out of reach, and all our dreams arise under tropical skies. We give each other pleasure, finding true love's treasure. And we will live on St. Croix Island, and we will give to each our hand. And in the night we will see all the stars and the moon. There will be shining bright for you and me. Soft glow of the sunset, true heart I cannot forget. hear your eyes, your blessing, and my true love confessing, and we will live on St. Croix Island, and we will give to each our hand. And in the night we will see all the stars and the moon. There will be shining bright for you and me, shining bright for you and me. Now this next one's a sad song, so if you don't like sad songs, guess I'll apologize ahead of time. I wrote this back in 2014 when I was really depressed, so here you go. Empty house with an empty bed, empty thoughts in an empty head, empty spot for an empty heart, empty life is a poison dart. Silent hours lead to silent days, the silent echoes on silent plays, silent actors on a silent stage. Silence leads to silent rage. My heart is broke and it can't be fixed. For all of my life, there's so much that I've missed. A gentle touch, a soft caress, simple things for others blessed. All my hope it slowly steals. This is how lonely feels. This is how lonely feels. This is how lonely feels. Frozen tears on a frozen face, frozen friends kept in frozen space, frozen heart in a freezer case, frozen life in a frozen place. Broken toys of broken times, like broken poet with broken rhymes. Broken promise is a jagged knife. Broken trust makes a broken life. My heart is broke and it can't be fixed. For all of my life, there's so much that I've missed. a gentle touch, a soft caress, simple things for others blessed. All my hope it slowly steals. This is how lonely feels. This is how lonely feels. It's not making any deals. All the light it conceals. This is how lonely feels. This is how lonely feels. This is how lonely feels. Thank you.
Thank you. When did you write the first one? The first song, the kind of jazz, folk jazz tune? Yeah.
I think I wrote that around 91 or 2.
Oh, okay. Jamie said she wrote that one about 1991 or 92. It sounded a lot like some of the songs in the early days of the folk revival. I was thinking of some of the things the Kingston Trio had done and some of the other groups around 1960. So, all right. Our question for tonight was about how or when did you find out about the truth about Santa? Someone I knew was inside the Santa suit when I was 16. I never really believed in the first place. One day I decided Santa wasn't real, and that was that. I think my parents were happy not to have to pretend anymore. I was 7 years old, and we had the same presents under the tree before and on Christmas. My father had broken his heels and wasn't working. The bright side of Christmas was that the business agent of the union my dad worked with brought us all presents. I found out about age 8. I was about 5 years old. When I was 5, man, that's early. That seems early, doesn't it to you? Yeah. Really smart little cruiser there. All right. I'm Jewish. Wait, there's more. I've always known. Okay, thanks so much for those. And Mike is here. He's I think he has a little story to read, short story to read us. Short story, that means that all the characters are under 5'2", right? Yeah, exactly. Okay. They're all what? Come on up. Would you like to sit or stand or? Okay.
Under the lights, so you read the small print.
Okay.
I guess layoffs are good times for me. I can come here and read. Otherwise, it'd be out of town somewhere. This one, let me see, the 2016 Spring Fever short story contest appeared in the Rockford Review. Let me see the summer fall issue of 2016. This takes me back to college days memories. This story is called The Sweet Taste of Spring. Tom decided a walk might help ease his mood after receiving the call from back home. His girlfriend there had found someone else. A textbook was open at his desk, finals next week. A curtain flapped and fluttered in a warm house, and his concentration flew out the window. He called Anne, his classmate in Intro to Psychology, and asked her to meet him. She agreed. A dark wall of clouds was lifting, a crisp morning finding warmth. He stopped and listened to a cheerful chorus of robins fill the air. Trees were in full blossom, a once dormant land finding new life. He took a deep breath of fresh air. The park a mile from the university was still. Grass shimmered from the dew. A line of trees stood under light of the early sun while a warm breeze blew. Todd's weary heart ached. He thought about spring, a time when young poets could live or die for love. Anne sat next to a brook. She glanced at him and gestured for him to sit next to her. "Thank you for being a friend," he said. She was from a farm family of 6 near a small Iowa town. He was an only child who grew up near Des Moines. After their first study date, they parted with a pat on the back and a pledge to see each other in class. But as she was leaving, she invited him to visit her parents' farm. A robin landed on the grass and pranced, and they watched. A monarch butterfly fluttered into a warm breeze. Her hand brushed over his wrist, and he smiled. "Feeling better?" she asked. He held his hand to his mouth and coughed. Maybe a little better. He thought about a long freshman year endured. The air smelled fresh, the sweet taste of spring. Anne flashed a smile as she drew near, and she hugged him. Unsure of himself, he wondered what this closeness could mean. "I tried to study this morning, but couldn't," he said. "Don't worry, you'll do well." He frowned and she got up. "Let's go for a walk." They walked next to the brook, occasionally brushing against each other. He recited a poem for Baudelaire, and she laughed. "Who told you that you're not a romantic?" she said. "My girlfriend said that." "Well, forget about her." He took off his baseball cap and gazed at her. "This is where I go to forget about things." A rabbit hopped across the grass, then another. The shapes of passing clouds stirred his imagination. A mourning dove in the clear blue sky, he felt Boris' sadness. He watched as it disappeared. Anne smiled at him. He shook his head and let out a harsh laugh. "I'm a free man." "I'm free too." Bummer. He thought about his freshman year, of how long it had been since high school senior year, of what he had found here and what he had lost at home. "Going back this summer?" she asked. He shrugged his shoulders. "I don't know, maybe. You?" "My dad wants me to help on the farm." A robin sung a song, and she stood up and danced a jig. He laughed. She drew him near, and he took her in his arms. They twirled around together and paused. He gave her a brief kiss on the lips, and she kissed him back. Now in an embrace, they continued to kiss each other until he pulled away from her. His heart pounded. "Sorry, I must have lost my head." She smiled. "That's okay." He hugged her and said, "Friends?" "Friends," she answered. They shook hands and laughed. "You darn college kids," a voice called to them. They turned around and saw an older lady stare at them. She shook her fist in disgust. "Why can't the people in town leave us alone?" he said. Anne looked at him. "We're not doing anything wrong, are we? Forget about them." She pointed to the ground. They sat shoulder to shoulder. When she started to talk about the upcoming final, he put a finger over her lips. A soft breeze sung a song of spring. The sun shining through clear skies gave a sense of relief. A line of trees secluded them from the university and the town. Visitor on the farm, he thought? Well, maybe. He leaned against her shoulder and closed his eyes. A row of trees in bloom kept the rest of the world far away, and summer was near. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So this is a seasonal thing? You said you were layoff?
For me now, Flagger's the construction.
Oh, right.
But there's a little utility work. I imagine it'll work off and on during the winter.
Okay.
Another time, and more time to.
All right. Okay, so it is seasonal.
Yeah.
All right. Phew. Okay. It wasn't something we said about you when they were watching the film or anything.
Well, actually, it was.
All right, we've got some harmonica from Satellite John here. It's coming up in a moment. You've got just enough time to get to the fridge, folks, and look for a little treat while he's on his way up. Come right back. Oh. Percussion, too, tonight.
Well, same harmonica, just add some bridge to it.
All right.
Okay. We'll do a instrumental of a holiday song, and it's no singing tonight, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. We do this every week, and if you are interested in performing next week, the sign-up sheet is already up on the side of the pop cooler. If you're watching us, come on down and you can sign up for next week. Music, comedy, poetry, we've had all kinds of things, and we welcome all kinds of performers. So consider, every one of us has something to perform. And this next week could be your week to perform. Let's see, I want to tell you about a couple things. I was talking to the audience here in the coffee house beforehand. Dave Moore is here on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Should be a great show. There's nothing like seeing Dave Moore at the coffee house. A reviewer for the Press Citizen said that this kind of intimate setting really enhances Dave's music and storytelling. So that's at 7. Earlier, at 4 o'clock, we have Coco and Carols. Those usual ho-ho-ho songs, and Coco, and probably some cookies, too. So we'd love to have you. If you're interested in other things that are coming up, for those of you here in the coffee house, there's a calendar on the table by the door. For those of you watching us, you can go to our webpage and click on the calendar and see what's coming up. All right, I too have a story. I think I mentioned before that in addition to this coffee house stuff, I've also been a high school teacher and a newspaper reporter, and sometimes all three, it seems, at one time. Or that sometimes I'll say that there are 3 of them, and 2 of them are in remission, and 1 of them is on the rise. So here's a story I wrote a couple of years ago. It's called Restoring the Magic. It was one of those evenings when things had gone well at the coffee house. The musicians had come and played and gone. The tip jar was full. The chairs were put away and the dishes were done. It was the night before Christmas Eve, and we were planning to close early. I looked around and counted who was left. 4 people. 1 who always tried to be last. 1 mother waiting for her son to put on his coat, and I thought, who is that? I hadn't seen her before. She was dozing in a chair holding a pink unicorn. Next to her, a backpack and a rolled-up blanket. I guess she was 16 or 17. She stirred a little, then opened her eyes. She got up and came to the counter. Christmas is tomorrow, isn't it? I wasn't sure if she was asking me or telling me. She didn't wait for my reply. I loved it when I was little. We lived in Kentucky then. It was magic, just magic. I even had Christmas lights in my room hanging over my bed. But these last few years, her voice trailed off. She climbed up on one of the stools and started playing with the salt and pepper shaker. After a couple of minutes, she spoke again. Why do we have to grow up? Why can't we always remain kids? What would be wrong with that? I mean, show me how being an adult has brought a better world. Kids share their toys. Adults lock up their stuff. Kids share their lunches. Adults let people go hungry. Kids don't start wars. Adults do. I can't argue with you, I said. A moment of silence followed. I ended it. What happens? When do you think we give up on being kids and decide we need to be adults? I stumbled a little at the word kids. My daughter Molly always gets upset with that. We are not baby goats, she says. And I've heard the word used too often to dismiss the voices of youth. They're just kids, someone would say. But I couldn't think of any other word at the moment. I don't know for sure, she answered, but it could be somewhere in junior high. All of a sudden, you're told to start acting like an adult. Ha! You know what I did when I was in junior high? She said, I tried to imagine every one of my teachers as a kid with an adult suit on. Oh, that was fun. School didn't think so, though. I kept getting sent to detention for saying things like, you're just a kid too, but you're wearing an adult suit. And, hey, where's the zipper so you can take the head off and let the kid out? I laughed. You think that's funny? She asked. Of course it's funny, I said, and the best thing to do when you hear something funny is laugh. Boy, I sure wish you had been my teacher. She said, did you ever teach? Yes, and I even taught junior high for a while, I said. Wow. Say, what's your name, I asked. Elizabeth. Liz? Yours? It's Tom. How are you, and what brought you out here tonight? Oh, I heard this is a cool place to hang out, and I just had to get out of the house. Too many relatives around tonight. Too many people faking being happy. My mom's been here, and she said it'd be okay if I came down. She used to come here back when she was in college. She said she knows you. She dropped out of school after I was born. That's when we moved to Kentucky. My dad got a job there. Oh, I have a brother, too. He's older. He moved away last year. Well, actually, we moved away, left Kentucky, and came back here. My dad's got something wrong in his head. He can only take a job for about 6 months. Then he quits. We used up all the jobs where we were living. Mom thought things would be better if we moved back here. It's been hard, though. I didn't know anybody at first, and everybody already had their groups, like since first grade. I made a few friends, though. Oh, and I've invited a couple of them to come down and join me. I was going to close early, you know, it's almost Christmas, I said, but Liz wasn't paying any attention. Turns out, she said, I'm not the only one who needs to get out of the house. Hey, are we going to do that dance-along nutcracker thing? My mom said you used to organize that when she was here. She also said you had a lot of really, really corny Christmas jokes. She said she and her friends used to tell you couldn't tell any of them after 8 o'clock. Hey, I've got one for you, Liz said. How do you know if there's a reindeer in your refrigerator? You can see the footprints in the butter. I laughed. Here's another, she said. What would you call a deep-fried Santa? Again, she didn't wait for my reply. Crisp Kringle. Have you got any jokes? Sure, I said, but it's after 8 o'clock, and we'll have to call your mom and make sure it's okay. We just won't tell her, Liz answered. Okay, then. What do you call people who are afraid of Santa? Claustrophobic. Liz laughed. My mom was right. Have you got another one, though? What do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire? Liz made a face. I have a feeling this one's going to be awful. Frostbite, I said. Ugh, she said. Just then the coffee shop door opened and 2 other young people walked in. Hey, Liz said, it's Jenny and Kate. What's up? She gestured to me. He was going to close, but I convinced him to stay open. Is Mike coming too? I don't know, one of them said. Oh, this is Jenny, Liz said to me, and the other one's Kate. The door opened and a young man came in, and this is Mike. Hi, Mike said, are you Bill? I laughed. No, but I've been called Bill a million times. My name is Tom. There was a Bill who started this place, though. My mom says you like to tell stories, Liz interrupted. I told my friends you'd tell a few, like maybe Christmas stories. Okay, once upon a time, I said. No, not those, the Christmas stories, like that wise woman with the mirror, a story that you told my mom. Oh, yeah, I said, and I told that story, and Jenny responded at the end, "Oh, I'm with Shannon. Why couldn't there have been a wise woman too? Why were there only wise men?" Then I told another story about Christmas in Shelter House. Kate laughed loudest. Posadas posse, Joseph in a Batman cape, Mary with a t-shirt reading, "You're not the boss of me." Ha, fun. And finally, I told a story about searching for the Christmas spirit. "Gee, I would have liked to be along that evening," Liz said. "I really like the pie lady in that story and Jesus in dreadlocks." "Thanks," I said. "Where's Mike?" "In here," a voice called from the office. "I found a guitar. Can I play it?" "Sure," I said. So we started singing Christmas songs, 12 Days of Christmas. We all sang along. "Here Comes Santa," "First Noel." "Hey," Liz said, "I think I'm beginning to feel like a kid again. How about Jingle Bells?" Of course, she meant the slightly twisted version with Batman smells and so on. So we sang that and a few more carols. Then it was quiet for a few minutes. Mike broke the silence and said, "I have one other song to sing. It's called Christmas Wish." I'm not going to sing it. I'll just read you a little verse from it. "For Christmas this year, I know exactly what you'd like. And I know you know I want the same things too. And I wish that I could give to you all your heart's desire and see your face on Christmas Day when all your dreams come true. But worldwide understanding and peaceful people everywhere is something right now beyond my reach. But we can do it simply. We can do it from the heart. Give presents that we know will never fade. And with all the ones we love and everyone we know, step by simple step, I know we'll achieve, and in our homes at least, a world that's filled with peace." Mike was right. That is a favorite song of mine, I said. "But how did he know that?" "My mom told me it was one of your favorite Christmas songs," Mike said. "She said you told her stories about the people who wrote that song, Tuck and Patty." "Oh yeah, that's right," I said. "When they first started, Tuck and Patty frequently played outdoors in the community where I lived. They seemed like such opposites. Patty was very outgoing. Tuck was so reserved. Patty chatted a lot between songs. Tuck might not talk during an entire concert, but you could tell how much they loved each other. By this time, we were all sitting on the couches in the middle of the coffee shop. "I do have one more story to tell," I said. I pointed to the picture on the wall of the man with the beard. "That's Bill. Bill Sachter. He spent nearly 50 years in one of those big old state mental hospitals. It was a terrible place. Bill didn't like to talk about it much. A lot of bad stuff happened there. When he got out, he eventually ended up here. In fact, he started the coffee shop. That became his life. Then every December, he would put on a Santa suit. He didn't just wear it for a day or a week. He wore it for the entire month of December. He wore it to work. He wore it on the bus. He even wore it to church. 'Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas, everybody,' he would say. And with that suit on, he really was Santa. You believed again, like when you were a kid, Liz, that Santa was real and Christmas was magic. But there was something else, too, about Bill being Santa. If someone who had such a hard life could still find joy in Christmas, it gets you wondering why each of us can't do that. I mean, what if we really tried, like you said, to take off the adult suit and be kids again for Christmas? We could be like Bill, spreading joy and peace. And if we could do that for one day, well, who knows? Thank you. That's about it for tonight. We're so glad you came. And those of you who are here are welcome to hang out and mingle a bit, look at the books. We got a few Christmassy things that we set out on the table there. And Maya's still ready to serve you more coffee or another soda pop or something like that. So, to the people on TV, we'll say thank you so much for watching. And to all of you, have a nice evening. See you again soon.
All That Jazz from Kirkwood Community College, 88.3 KCCK, Cedar Rapids, and Iowa City, FM and HD radio. With the U.S. Army Blues, My Favorite Things, from a new album called Swingin' in the Holidays. And Miles Davis, going back to the late 1980s, and Hannibal recorded live from Live Around the World. KCCK is supported by the McGrath family of dealerships, the largest family-owned automobile company in Iowa. Established in 1952, McGrath provides sales and service of both new and used vehicles. The McGrath family of dealerships is proud to support KCCK as a presenting sponsor for Jazz Under the Stars, McGrathAuto.com. The Freedom Foundation was formed by a group of local military veterans who saw the need for a Veterans Helping Veterans approach to navigating the challenges of everyday life after serving our country. The organization is now expanded to veterans and civilians working together to make a difference in the lives of those who have served. They gladly accept volunteers, monetary donations, and items for the food pantry. Donations are tax-deductible under 501c3 nonprofit. For more information, call the studio line here at KCCK, 319-398-5883, or email studio@kcck.org. And get the first word on new jazz releases, along with KCCK programs and events when you subscribe to our email newsletter. Each week, EKCCK delivers timely jazz news, program info, and commentary. Subscribe at kcck.org. Okay, what have we got coming up? Ken Wiley and Karen Allison for us on Evening Jazz Live, 88.3 KCCK.